And welcome to Spectrum TV News, a recap of major stories within the week. I am Francis Oyima, Adet, coming to you live from the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Bola Tinubu assents to Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria bill. Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino presents 2024 budget estimate of 845.632 billion naira to the State House of Assembly. Plus, Germany pledges $1.4 billion for Ukraine's army on 10-year Maidan University anniversary. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Sincere apologies for bringing you the news behind schedule, and thanks for joining us. First in the news within the week is Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, was assented to the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria Deacon Bill 2023. According to reports, the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria was established on August 1, 1964 by an Act of Parliament and revised as the Deacon Act in Chapter 94 of the Laws of the Federation 2004. The new act also established the Defense Industry Technology, Research and Development Institute, DITRID, to create an elaborate scientific and research-based technological foundation for Nigeria's defense industry through the leveraging of combined multidisciplinary research from multiple military research institutes for application that leads to commercialization and the development of new military technology and capacity in Nigeria. The Act provides a comprehensive regulatory framework for the regulation of the manufacturing, distribution, storage, and disposal of defense articles in Nigeria. According to Ajurin Galale, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria Bill 2023 is sponsored by the Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Defense, Babajimi Benson, APC Korodu Federal Constituency. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday asked for German investment in vital Nigerian economic areas, including electricity and rail transport. According to a statement released by the President's spokesperson, Ajurin Galale, Tinubu made the request at a meeting with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin outside the G20 Compact with Africa Economic Conference. According to the President, important growth-enabling businesses in transportation, energy, and the generation, transmission, and distribution of electric power required German investment. The President said there should be a renewed urgency to the uneven and sporadic implementation of the Presidential Power Initiative, which is backed by Siemens. In another development, former President Muhammadu Buhari within the week justified why the Naira redesign policy was introduced during the 2023 general election period. Buhari made this revelation in his first interview since leaving office, which was aired on the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA). According to him, the Naira redesign policy was intended to show Nigerians that there is no shortcut to power. Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) under Governor Godwin Emefiele implemented the Naira redesign policy, which forced many Nigerians into hardship due to the scarcity of currency. In the meantime, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, on Tuesday approved the constitution of a multi-sectoral committee to drive the federal government's Human Capital Development (HCD) program. A multi-sectoral team consists of federal and state governments, donors, and partners who are expected to the objectives of the HCD program. A statement signed by Shettima's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Communications, Stanley Ngocha, revealed this to newsmen. According to the statement, the HCD program focuses on 3 thematic areas: health and nutrition, labor force participation, and education, and 6 essential human capital development areas, including on the 5 mortality rate, malnutrition, adult mortality, expected years of school, quality of learning, and labor force participation rate.
Honor and privilege to cherish forever to inaugurate the 3rd Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's my singular honor and privilege to cherish forever to inaugurate the 3rd Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Away from that, the federal government within the week introduced a plan to reduce the level of open defecation in Nigeria. The plan was presented on Tuesday in Abuja during an event marking the World Toilet Day 2023 with the theme Accelerating Change. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsef, stressed the value of stakeholder ownership on the teamwork in his speech at the ceremony, emphasizing the need to move quickly on initiatives that promote a healthier and cleaner environment. He highlighted the ministry's commitment to maximizing the water sector's social and economic benefits. Meanwhile, the federal government, through the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, revoked 1,633 mineral titles previously given to non-complying mining companies. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, announced this during a press briefing in Abuja. He said the licenses of these mineral title holders were revoked due to failure to pay mandatory annual service fees of 1,500 naira per cadastral unit. In the meantime, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Boyega Oyetola, said that the federal government is working towards the re-establishment of a national shipping line through a strategic public-private partnership arrangement. The minister also noted that the government has created a roadmap towards a sustainable blue economy. Speaking in Lagos on Wednesday at a stakeholders roundtable engagement on advancing sustainable development in Nigeria's marine and blue economy, Oyetola explained that the roadmap will advance the industry's potential, promote sustainable blue economy investment, and ensure global competitiveness within the sector. Elsewhere, the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, said the federal government's objective was to create 10% of the country's gross domestic product by expanding the sector's GDP to $100 billion by 2030. Musawa, who spoke during the Art, Culture and Creative Economy Roundtable at the State House in Abuja, said the government would work towards ensuring a conducive environment that encourages growth and investment. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, within the week said that the Federation account is witnessing improved revenue inflow since the removal of subsidy from an average of 650 billion naira monthly to over 1 trillion naira in the last 4 months. The minister stated these in Asaba at the opening ceremony of a 4-day retreat organized for members of the Federation Account Allocation Committee FAAC. The minister, represented by the Permanent Secretary Finance Special Duties Okokonudo, said government had for long realized that petroleum subsidy was not suitable, sustainable. According to him, the subsidy administration eroded revenues that should have been available to fund viable expenditures that were critical to the well-being of the peoples. We move to the Red Chambers, where the Senate within the week asked the federal government to immortalize the late designer of the national flag park, Taiwo Akinkunmi. Akinkunmi died in Ibadan on August 29th after the motion moved by Senator Sharafaddin Abiodun representing Oyo South. The lawmakers observed a minute's silence. They also called on the federal government to conduct a state burial in its honor for his befitting role in the design of the national flag. The Senate also dissolved into the Committee of the Whole to consider the report of the Committee on the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Meanwhile, the Senate confirmed on Tuesday the appointment of Dr. Chukwuemeka Agbasi as the Managing Director of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA. This followed the adoption of the report of the Senate Committee on FEMA at the Committee of the Whole within the course of the week. Presenting the reports, the chairman of the committee, Senator Hassani Uba, urged the Senate to consider the request of President Tinubu for the confirmation of the nominee in accordance with Section 2, subsection 1-2 of the FEMA Act 2002. The Senate also confirmed the appointment of 9 other persons as members of the board of FEMA. Those confirmed included Ibi Manasseh, Dr. Kenneth Obala, Senator Timothy Aduda, Babatunde Daramola, Priye Oseke, Aminu Papa, Abubakar Bapa, Sheikh Mohammed, and Yusuf Otmam. In the meantime, Senator representing Benue South Senatorial District, Abba Moro, within the week emerged Senate Minority Leader. Moro, a 2-term senator on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), was nominated by the opposition party in the Red Chamber and was subsequently affirmed. He took over from Senator Simon Magwan, representing Plateau North Senatorial District, who was removed by the appeal court. Reports say the newly elected minority leader was a former Minister of Interior during the former President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Elsewhere, the Senate Committee on Finance has berated the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation (NAIC) over its inability to provide details of its finances from 2021-2022 up to the third quarter of 2023. At an interactive session in Abuja, members of the committee regretted the absence of receipts to provide and prove NAIC expenditures from revenue claims. The committee, led by Sani Musa, senator representing Niger South Senatorial District, also charged NAIC to provide detailed receipts of remittances said to have been made with the surplus revenue generated in 2023. The committee therefore mandated the management of the organization to furnish it with the corporation's audited account covering 2021 and 2022 up to the third quarter of 2023. Still from the Red Chambers, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions within the week asked 2 students, Cyprian Igwe and Olamilekun Oladeru, who were expelled by the University of Abuja in July over an alleged plan to protest against the proposed fees hike, to appear before it on Tuesday. The students had petitioned the Senate asking the Red Chamber to intervene and prevail on the university authorities to reinstate them so as not to suffer for an offense they did not commit. Oladeru petitioned the Senate through Fadahunsi Adeniba, senator representing Osun East Senatorial District, while Igwe wrote through Victor Ome, senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District. Both Igwe and Oladeru recently finished their final year examinations and were awaiting their results to proceed on the mandatory National Youth Service when they were expelled from school for their alleged offense. And from the Green Chambers, the House of Representatives within the week approved the 2024-2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP). The House approved a benchmark oil price of $73.96 and $73.76, and as well as $69.90 per barrel. Daily crude oil production of 1.78 barrels per day and 1.80 barrels per day and 1.81 as well as for 2024, 2025 and 2026 respectively. The Green Chamber also approved exchange rate of 700, 665.61 and 669.792 US dollar proposed by the executive for the period 2024 through 2026. The lower chamber proposed a gross domestic product GDP growth rates at 3.76, 4.22 and 4.78% during the years 2024, 2025 and 2026, with an inflation rate of 21.40% in 2024, 20.30% in 2025 and 18.60% in 2026. The House also approved the recommendation of its Committee on Finance, Loans and Debt Management that, having discovered that the subsidiaries of the Nigerian Postal NIPA service so created are irregular and illegal, they would be wound up and deregistered immediately. In a separate development, the Service Chiefs and Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Gbetekun on Tuesday appeared before the House of Representatives. The Service Chiefs include the Chief of Defense Staff (CDS) General Christopher Musa, Chief of Army Staff (COAS) Lieutenant General Tori Lagbaja, Chief of Air Staff (CAS) Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, and Chief of Naval Staff (CNS) Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala. They were ushered into the Green Chamber for the security sectoral debate. This comes after criticism of the security heads by the lawmakers for sending representatives who were rejected. On judicial matters, the Court of Appeal in Abuja within the week dismissed the appeal by the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Umar Ado, against the election victory of Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The chairman of the tribunal, Justice T.O. Oloho, dismissed the petition for being incompetent and not properly filed. In his judgment on Tuesday, Justice Ugochukwu Ogaku of the appeal court agreed with the tribunal that the appellant did not prove the allegations of corrupt practices and non-compliance to the Electoral Act against INEC. He said there was no basis to grant the appeal. In politics, the new Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) within the week welcomed the call by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for the merger of opposition parties to wrestle power from the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). The party's position was made public in a press conference addressed by the AG, the national chairman of the party, Abba Kawu Ali, in Abuja on Tuesday. Away from that, Governor Charles Aludo of Anambra State within the week presented a 410 billion naira 2024 budget to the State House of Assembly for approval. Speaking at the ceremony, Aludo said the budget targeted changing gears. The transformation agenda was aimed at beginning a transformation agenda and implementing a new master plan to build a livable and prosperous homeland. He said the budget was made up of 313.9 billion naira capital expenditure, representing 77%, and 96.2 billion naira recurring expenditure, representing 23.46%. The governor said the budget had a deficit of 120 billion naira expected to be funded through a facility from financial institutions. And back here, the Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyun on Tuesday presented the 2024 Estimates and Appropriation Bill to the State House of Assembly. In his presentation, the governor appealed for the timely passage of the budget for effective implementation. Our correspondent has the details.
From State Governor Pastor Moino has presented a budget estimate of 845.632 billion naira for the 2024 fiscal year to the State House of Assembly for consideration and approval. Governor Ino, who made the presentation on the floor of the state legislature, said the 2024 budget estimates, Christian Arise budget for growth and expansion, is made up of 352.917 billion naira for recurrent expenditure and 492.715 billion naira for capital expenditure. The governor told the lawmakers that the implementation strategy will be to partner with foreign investors, widen infrastructure base of the state, and expand and maintain infrastructure services in healthcare, amongst others.
As we review the performance of the 2023 budget, I'd like to inform you that a total of 850 billion was approved for the 2023 fiscal year, with a total recurrent expenditure of 394 billion and the capital vote of 455 billion.
Governor Ino, who thanked the 8th Assembly for the cooperation and support they've extended to him so far, pledged his readiness to work collaboratively with all, without rancor or acrimony, for the success of Akwa Ibom. He urged the State Assembly on the expeditious approval of the estimates, while assuring of his determination to the faithful implementation of the budget for the well-being of Akwa Ibom people.
I'd like to assure this Honorable House that we will continue to promote the values of Akwa Ibomites everywhere we are. We'll continue to work with Akwa Ibomites in the diaspora to ensure that we harness all of their potentials. And to make this happen, I've appointed a senior special assistant on diaspora matters who will help us coordinate all of our people.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Udemotong, has pledged the continued collaboration of the legislature with the executive arm of the government to ensure the implementation of the government's plan for the state and the timely passage of the budget.
In this regard, we have made immense considerable legislations and resolutions that are geared toward giving legal backing to policies, programs, and other activities of this administration, as well as being a lifeline of His Excellency Arise agenda. So far we have prepared 2 people-centric bills and 57 motions, some of which are still at committee stage, awaiting scrutiny and public hearings. This would not have been possible without the tremendous support of our dear governor, and it is our expectation that those bills will be given due recognition when the governor assent is given to them.
The state government is proposing a 2024 budget estimate of 845.632 billion naira, as against the approved revised provision of 850 billion naira of 2023, representing a decrease of 0.5% from the 2023 revised budget. In Uyo, Jane Uwa, Spectrum Television News.
And still to come in the news. Lithium extends sell-off to 2-year low, CNY 140,000 per ton in November.
Christmas season is here again. Are you aware that making your business or products visible on a television space gives your brand a wider visibility and patronage? In the spirit of the season, Spectrum Television is offering a whopping 25% discount on all services. Advertise your products and services while this offer lasts from 1st December 2023 to January 31st, 2024. We are a television with a passion to take your business and services on a satisfactory lane. You do not want to miss this opportunity. For more inquiries, inquiries, visit our city office at number 2 Taft Plaza Close off Akaitinen Road, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, or call the following numbers on your screen. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon. For premium broadcasts and entertainment, sports on the go, and news around the world, watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website spectrumtvlive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of our news stories. We move now to Africa, where Liberia National Electoral Commission (NEC) within the week declared political veteran Joseph Boakai winner of Liberia's presidential election, beating incumbent George Weah. The NEC's president, David Data Lansana, said Boakai won 50.64% of the vote against 49.36% of the vote for former international football star Weah, giving a 20.567 votes margin. Reports say the outgoing president and former football star won praise from abroad for conceding and promoting a non-violent transition in a region marked by coups. In a related development, more than a dozen people were injured and several are feared dead in Liberia after a vehicle rammed into supporters of President-elect Joseph Boakai. The police have described the incident as an accident, but Bokai's Unity Party, UP, called it a barbaric act of domestic terrorism. It came just hours after Liberia's electoral body declared him the winner of last week's presidential election. In his concession speech, President George Weah had called for unity. It was a closely fought election with just over 20,000 votes separating the two candidates in the runoff poll. Reports say they were celebrating the official announcement of his victory outside the UP headquarters in the capital, Monrovia. Meanwhile, there are conflicting reports on the time of the incident, but witnesses place it at some point in the 2 hours after 2100. Still in Africa, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC opposition leader Mose Katumbi officially launched his campaign for re-election for president at a rally in Kasarani 1 month ahead of the election. The 58-year-old businessman has promised to fight graft, create jobs, and reform the country's ailing economy. Katumbi criticized incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi's record in the DRC volatile east, where the army has been battling M23 rebels and other armed groups. He claimed the president was recruiting foreign mercenaries instead of increasing the salaries of military and police. Meanwhile, at least 37 people within the week died in a stampede during an army recruitment drive at stadium in Congo-Brazzaville. Reports say some people tried to force their way through stadium's gates in the capital, Brazzaville, causing the stampede. Recall that last week the army announced plans to recruit about 1,500 people between the ages of 18 and 25. It was unclear how many people were injured in the overnight crash. Meanwhile, a government statement said that a crisis unit has been set up. According to the Associated Press, as many as 700 people a day have been registering over the last week at recruitment centers. Late on Monday night, thousands of young people reportedly turned up at Michael D. Onado Stadium to be first in line today. On the foreign scene, Israel within the week recalled its ambassador in South Africa for consultations. Israel's foreign ministry has said it follows the latest South African statement on Israel ministry spokesperson Leo Heitz said on X without giving specifics. South Africa has said highly critical of Israel's military operation in Gaza. On Monday, it urged the International Criminal Court, the ICC, to issue an arrest warrant for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by mid-December. Minister in the presidency, Kumbazo Nzaveni, said failure to do so would signal a total failure of global governance. In a related development, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the number of civilians killed in Gaza has been unparalleled and unprecedented in comparison to any conflict since 2017. Guterres rejected the possibility of a UN protectorate in the enclave and called for a multi-stakeholder approach that will lead to a two-state solution. He added that everybody needs to come together to make the condition for a transition, allowing Palestinian Authority to assume responsibility in Gaza. During an unannounced visit to Kyiv by the defense minister that coincided with the 10th anniversary of the historic Maidan protests. Reports say European Union leader Charles Michel and Moldovan leader Mai Sandu were also in the capital, Kyiv, becoming the latest officials to throw their political clout behind Ukraine during surprise trips. Meanwhile, a flurry of visits from senior Western officials have sought to reassure Kyiv of more military support as the world's attention shifts to the Middle East and questions emerge over U.S. funding for Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Pakistani court has declared the jail trial of former Prime Minister Imran Khan on charges of leaking state secrets illegal. A special court has been conducting the trial in jail, citing security concerns since Khan was indicted on the charges last month. Khan's legal team had challenged the law ministry notification that ordered the jail trial. According to reports, the charges against Khan relate to receipts classified cables sent to Islamabad by Pakistan's ambassador in the United States last year, which Khan is accused of making public. Meanwhile, former cricket hero Khan, who was forced from office in 2022 after losing a no-confidence vote in Parliament, has had dozens of legal cases filed against him, which he has denounced as an effort to keep him out of politics. He has been convicted in one graft case and sentenced to 3 years in jail. The sentence was suspended, but he remains in prison in connection with other cases. In the meantime, North Korea within the week disclosed to Japan that it may attempt a third spy satellite launch as early as midnight on Wednesday. Tokyo said Pyongyang has notified them of the 9-day window for the launch, which closes at 11 p.m. local time on November 30th. Reports say Japan will work with South Korea to strongly urge the North not to proceed with the launch, which they said would violate UN resolutions. Elsewhere, Poland is said to receive more than €5 billion in EU funds after the European Commission gave a positive assessment of the country's revised recovery plan that includes green reforms and investment on Tuesday. Reports say the €5.1 billion pre-financing is part of the bloc's Repower EU program aimed at helping the 27 EU nations recover from the energy crisis that followed Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year and reduce their dependence to Russian fossil fuels, and the announcement came a month after an election in Poland secured a parliamentary majority to pro-EU parties aligned with Donald Tusk. Meanwhile, following the EU's executive arms proposal, the Council, representing the EU countries, has 4 weeks to greenlight the disbursement of money. EU finance ministers are expected to approve the plan at their next meeting on December 8. To business now, where lithium carbonate prices on Tuesday extended their decline to 140,000 Chinese yuan per ton in November, the lowest since September 2021 on lower demand and steady supply. Expectations that growth in Chinese electric vehicle sales is slowing down prompted battery manufacturers to refrain from purchasing significant quantities of lithium during their typical restocking period in the second half of the year. Instead, firms cleared through inventories from the supply glut caused by extensive subsidies from the Chinese government throughout 2021 and 2022. Additionally, demand concerns emerge as EU is investigating predatory pricing for Chinese vehicles. Meanwhile, Mineral Resources, the world's second largest producer of lithium raw material, spodumene, plans to double its lithium production in Western Australia next fiscal year. Still in business, the chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), Zach Adedeji, within the week charged non-domestic companies shipping crude oil from Nigeria to ensure strict compliance with the country's tax laws in their operations. Adedeji gave the charge in Lagos at a workshop on taxation of non-resident shipping companies organized by FIRS in conjunction with the Oil Producers Trade Section. He said the tax compliance exercise commenced by FIRS on the activities of foreign shipping companies lifting hydrocarbons from Nigeria was part of measures aimed at widening the tax net in order to grow revenue for the government. Meanwhile, the truce will soon be called in the ongoing oil field dispute between Italian oil company Eni and the Nigerian government, as the oil giant has called for a temporary suspension of the arbitration against the federal government. According to report, this is to pave the way for negotiations to convert the license from prospecting to one for production. Eni on Monday confirmed the suspension of the arbitration at the World Bank's dispute settlement body regarding the OPL 245 oil field, considered to be potentially the biggest oil block in the country. The move comes days after Nigeria commenced the process of withdrawing civil claims totaling $1.1 billion against Eni in relation to allegations of corruption in the OPL 245 deal. Eni and Shell were awarded rights for an offshore field, OPL 245, in 2011, but the area has never been exploited, as it became subject to multiple disputes that are now coming to an end. Still to come in the news, ICC ships men's under-19 World Cup from Sri Lanka to South Africa. Just stay with us.
Every day marks a day of significance.
That in view of the apology tendered by this former minister who had earlier been cleared by this August Assembly,
as we face critical issues, developments and events which shape our social and political landscape here in Nigeria and beyond. Political Spectrum is a program specially designed to help make sense of all the moving parts of developments and occurrences in our nation's polity and political economy.
There is nothing wrong with Nigeria, but there's everything wrong.
The educational history of public figures holds significance beyond mere biographical details.
From executive, legislative and judicial developments at national and subnational levels to international diplomacy and relations.
Join us for exclusive interviews with key political figures, expert opinions, analysts, thought-provoking conversations for and against, shedding light on the major issues that matter. We will always keep you updated on the most factual, smartest and unbiased reportage.
Stay tuned to Political Spectrum. Political Spectrum. All sides matter at the round table. Political Spectrum. Exclusive to Spectrum Television.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people. But there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Glad to know you're still with us, and now to the concluding part of our news stories. In health, pharmacies and pediatricians in the country have said that they are becoming increasingly concerned about the scarcity and hike in prices of essential medicines and the serious impact it is having on children's health. They said the scarcity and high prices of drugs used in managing pediatric cases would make treatment inaccessible or unaffordable for parents, warning that this could lead to an increase in child morbidity and mortality. Pediatricians stated that the production and price of children's drugs had been affected by the forex crisis and predicted the scarcity of some drugs. Recall that the World Health Organization, in a recent report, ranked Nigeria as the second country with the highest number of maternal, neonatal, and child deaths globally. Still in health, medical experts have expressed concerns over the increasing rate of loneliness among Nigerians, which they said could increase the burden of mental illness in the country if not urgently addressed. A public health expert and clinical psychologist who revealed that 50% of lonely people were at risk of mental illness, noted that both older people and adolescents experience loneliness. According to the Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria, more than 60 million Nigerians are suffering from mental illnesses, with only about 10% of them able to access appropriate care. The physicians identified westernization and social media dependence as some of the factors fueling loneliness in Nigeria. A move to sports now, where the ICC board on Tuesday decided to shift the 2024 Men's Under-19 World Cup from Sri Lanka to South Africa. The move, a unanimous decision by the board, was taken as a consequence of the ICC recently provisionally suspending the Sri Lanka Cricket SLC due to extensive government interference in the board's administration. The ICC confirmed moving the tournament to South Africa after hearing representation from Sri Lanka Cricket. The ICC board decided that Sri Lanka can continue to compete internationally both in bilateral cricket and ICC events after being suspended recently for breaching its obligations as a member, in particular the requirement to manage its affairs autonomously and without government interference. Meanwhile, South Africa has been a favorite for hosting Under-19 World Cup events recently. The country hosted the inaugural edition of the Women's Under-19 World Cup in 2023 and the Men's Under-19 World Cup in 2022. Still in sport, the last two sports for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 will be decided during the 7-team Africa Regional Qualifier in Namibia. Reports say Nigeria's Yellow Greens are among the teams that will be fighting for the slots allocated to Africa, and that they have been drawn against Kenya in the opening game. The organizers within the week officially released the fixtures of the matches on Tuesday morning as the qualifier commenced on Wednesday. After facing Kenya in the first game, the Nigerian side will confront one of the tournament favorites, Rwanda, in the second game before facing Tanzania in the third game. They will play Uganda, Zimbabwe, and the host Namibia later in the competition. Meanwhile, Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Warren Zaire-Emery will be sidelined for the rest of 2023 after suffering an ankle injury in his debut for France. The 17-year-old left the field after he was caught on his ankle by a Gibraltar defender while scoring in France's 14-0 win. Zaire-Emery became France's youngest player since 1914 and also the youngest goal scorer for the country since that date in the Euro 2024 qualifier. Meanwhile, Zaire-Emery will be unavailable for PSG's next 5 League One fixtures and final 2 Champions League group games. On our entertainment news, a court in Los Angeles within the week ruled that a United States of American rapper A$AP Rocky will stand trial for twice pulling a gun on a former friend and shooting at him once. The 35-year-old, who has 2 children with R&B star Rihanna, is being prosecuted on 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. He has denied the charges. The court heard how Terrell Efron, one of the founding members of the A$AP collective, was left slightly injured after the confrontation in Hollywood in November 2021. At a hearing last week, Efron, known by his stage name A$AP Rocky, said the friendship between the 2 men had soured, accusing him of abandoning other members of the group, which was founded in New York in 2008. Still on entertainment, barely 4 days after announcing that he was decided to give up smoke, American hip-hop legend Calvin Codazza Brothers Jr., popularly known as Snoop Dogg, within the week came out to clarify that the smoking he gave up was not weed, but smoky room warmer. In an advertisement video shared via his X handle, Snoop Dogg said he was going smokeless with solo stove. Meanwhile, his earlier announcement that he was quitting smoking after much consideration and conversation with his family had his fans and colleagues thinking he was referring to his age-long addiction to weed. Recall that his colleagues, Meek Mill, had announced to follow suit by relocating to Dubai to quit smoking, saying he was diagnosed with emphysema. Meanwhile, the British singer Adele within the week reportedly confirmed she is married to sports agent Rich Paul. The singer made the revelation at Alan Curry's comedy stand-up debut in the United States. The superstar said she and Paul have been dating since 2021, describing him as the most incredible and open-hearted person. Lastly, in the news within the week, Nigerian singer Davido is set to thrill fans at Eagle Square, Abuja after an electrifying away concert in Atlanta. Davido's Atlanta concert was a success, leaving fans in awe with hits like Stand Strong and Unavailable. The timeless concert promised surprises, electrifying performances, fun activities, and timeless experience as the event is set to showcase Davido's evolution as an artist and redefine Afrobeats once again. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News, a recap of major stories within the week. I am Francis Oyima, Edit. And thanks for being there and do enjoy the rest of your weekend.